Okay, everybody, so we're going to get started on 3.1 functions. And this section is pretty heavy with vocabulary. You might be like, oh, vocabulary is for English, but vocabulary is really important when we talk about math. So we're going to look at our relations. Okay, we're going to look at domain and range. And we're going to look at identifying independent and dependent variables. All right. Now, I'm not going to go and write out a whole bunch of definitions, but what I am going to do is every time we talk about a vocab, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight that so that you can see those words. Okay, so these are all actually vocab words that we're dealing with. Okay, all right, so the first one is talking about a relation. Now, if I say, who's your relation? You would tell me like your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, and all that. So let's notice that I'm working on some graph paper here. You don't have to have that, but I'm just going to go over, determine whether these are these relations functions. Okay, wow, I just said 2 vocab terms. Okay, and relations, remember, sets of points, X, Y. They don't have to form a line. They don't have to have a pattern. They can just be a group of numbers. And a function is, it has one input to one output. Okay. Now, notice I said input and output. So let's talk about this. Usually, so let me give you this. I'll give you my set of points here. -2, 2, -1, 2, 0, 2, 1, 0, and 2, 0. One input to every output, okay? 1x to 1y, okay? You can't have repeats in the input. So let's check this out. I'm going to use a different color here. Let's check this out. Do I have any repeats? -2 to 2, -1 to 2. Okay, 0 to 2, 1 to 2, and 2 to 0. Now, I did repeat 0, but notice, did I repeat? These are all different, aren't they? Okay, well, then this would be a function. All right, let's try this one. 4087 64 43 and 52. All right, here we go. 4086 Whoa, wait a minute. I just said 4 twice. Uh-oh. Oh, I can't repeat. So that's 2 inputs or 1 input, but there's 2 outputs. So 4 is used on the 0 and 4 is used with the 3. So that's 1 input, but 2 outputs. No, that is not a function. Okay, how about I put it like this? What about if it was in a table? Now notice I put input X and output Y. All right, how about this one? Do I have any repeats? Oh no, I do, don't I? 0 goes to 5. 0 also goes to 8. That's 1 input, but 2 outputs. That doesn't work. That's a no. Okay, how about I give it to you like a map? Okay, these are my inputs. Here's my outputs. Okay, now be careful because you might say, well, that would be a no because 2 arrows go to 4. But remember, does each input go to only 1 output? Do I repeat in the X value? No, I don't. So yes, this is a function. Okay, this is a function. Now, we just said something really super important here and kind of pointed out that input is X and output is Y. We're going to also name something else with X and Y as well, okay? Meaning domain and range. One other way that we can tell, okay, whether something is a function or not is by a graph. So is this a function? Oh, I used a vocab term, didn't I? All right, so let me give you, I'm going to give you a couple graphs. Okay, so one of the other ways when you stop and think about it, if you have 1 input to 2 outputs, then they would be right over top of one another, okay? So in this case, for example, 4, 0 and 4, 3 would be right there, for example, okay? And do you notice when I do something, we're going to use something called the vertical line test. If I use the vertical line test and I hit more than 1 point on a vertical line, then it is not a function. So you see how when I do this, it hits those 3 points. It also hits right there. So I'm actually going to highlight where it makes this not true. So this is no, it is not a function. Is it a relation? Yes. But is it a function? No. All right, now try this. This is a continuous. This is what we call discrete, where it's just points. This is continuous. See my continuous line with the arrows? So if I pass over my line, if I want to draw, oh, I only hit once. I only hit once. I hit once. I hit once. Oh, that does pass. So that does pass the vertical line test. So this is a function. Okay. Pretty easy on that part. Okay, So let's introduce some more vocabulary. I'm going to box this in. All right, the next part of the vocabulary is really talking about that input, okay, which we said was the same as X, which is the same as another word, which is domain, okay, the domain. My Y values are output. They are Y values, and these are called the range. So let me show you what I mean. My input is -2. I'm going to put it into my machine, my function machine. And my function machine, here's my function. Okay. Oh, I just used another vocab, didn't I? My input is -2. My function is this. So I'm going to put my input or my X in for my X. And my output or my Y value is what's 3 times a -2. It is a -6. Okay, so input is what you're putting in, and output is really your Y value that you're getting. Okay, so being able to put together your domain and ranges is kind of an important topic to do. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, let's talk about domain and range. So let's look at my domain. Now you can do this a couple of different ways, okay? My domain is where on the x-axis, right? Okay, well, just use my pencil. So let's see, where does it hit here? 1, -1, -2, -3. So this point is -3. Okay, comma. What's this one? Oh, that one's a -2. Oh, what's this one? That one's 0. This one is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, my range values would be all my Y values. Okay, and my Y values, let's see, that's a 1. So is that one, so is that one. All right. I don't have to mention it more than once. How about this one? Oh, that one's 2, and this one is 3. Okay. You could also go and write them as points if you want. This is -3, 1. This is -2, 3. Notice I just work from left to right. It's not a big deal. 0, 2, 1, 1, and 3, 1. And friends, my domain value are all of my x's. So sometimes I get a little lazy in my graphing. Oh well, right? What are you gonna do? So there's all my domain values, and in red, here's all my range values. Okay, a little bit different on this piece. This piece with is a continuous piece. So my domain, I really need to look at down here. It's a continuous piece. Okay, so I really go from here to here. So domain is really from, let's see, this is a -2 and 1, 2, 3, a 3. Now, how do I write? I want everything in between. Plus, I want these endpoints. You're right. So it's actually the inequalities like what we were writing before. Oh my, I forgot to highlight. I just used the words domain and range, didn't I? Oh my. Okay. Now, the second piece, the range, oh, another vocab term. The range here, let's get my red. All right, so look, I start here and I go down to here. All right, so what's my lower end? Well, that's 0. And my upper end is 2. And my letter that I want to use is a Y. And I want from here all the way up there. There you go, on domain and range. All right, the last piece is talking about independent and dependent variables. And it's our last vocab piece that we have here. So this is independent and we're going to have a separate video on this. Okay, so you're done for today, but we're going to go into this in more detail a little bit later. Okay, thanks, friends.